Hey, Cookster here. Welcome to another video. So this is part 3 of fixing this rear cab corner right here. This entire body crease was shoved in. I'll show you some images here. Big deep dent here, probably big as your fist, but it was very deep. So in part 1, I used my slide hammer, I pulled the dent out, I welded the holes up, got the metal work done. So in part 2, I showed the body filler work, and I talked about how you're building this entire shape, which we had to build all this out of filler and shape it and sculpt it, and that's not easy to do. And the fact that this is on the curve made it 3 times as difficult as it would have been if it was just a straight line. So we got it blocked, we got it shaped, and in this video, which is part 3, did the priming work and the blocks handiwork. But the corner's done, it looks good, I'm really happy with it. I've stood back and looked at this line, from 20 feet away and 1 foot away and rubbed my hand around it, and I looked at the other side, and I'm very happy with how this crease turned out. But anyway, enough of that rambling. Let's get into the video, so let's go. I do want to show you in close right quick. I've already sanded this rear panel, that's a different video. I did sand into my work here. There's filler work all the way over in here to this corner. And I mentioned I really couldn't see this corner that great until I got primer on it. And you can already tell by the guide coat and my initial sanding, my corner, my seam here, body crease is off. It's high. And of course this is a little bit of run in the primer, but I already block sanded out this far, and this is straight here. But this crease, it's not horrible. It looked good in raw primer. When I started sanding, you can definitely see, I mean, it feels good up on the top side, but the edge of it where it rolls over, anyway, that's what the guide coat can do for you, especially on these body seams. We're going to be able to make it work. I just wanted to show you what I kind of cut into already. I'll show the guide coat I use again. It's the dry kind, Duragold brand. Use whatever you want. I'll say it again. Do not use spray paint for guide coat. That's not what it's for. Just don't. Don't be a cheap ass. Buy some guide coat. I've said it before. You don't have to coat every square inch that you're going to work, but get it on there. You're not painting the thing. You're just getting enough where you can see what you're doing. And after you do this a little bit, you'll learn. It ain't hard to figure out how much you need, where you need it, all that good stuff. Creases, anything that you're really worried about, creases, be sure to get plenty on there for that. With the rest of it, just getting up on there to do the job. Put it that way. I'm going to start with this big block, but it's not going to last long. I think what I'll do is I'll sand up here first with the big block. So as I said, what you want to do, you just sand this and you watch the guide coat, and any dark spots that remain, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make a pass right quick, a wash pass we call it. And that'll give us a good indicator of what we're working with. Now, watch the nose of this block down in this crease right here. If you get down too deep in this filler and start sanding, you'll sand the ditch in this crease. You don't want to do that. So I really wouldn't call these low spots as much as I would say it's just a little bit of orange peel in the primer. This is definitely orange peel, an orange peel like this. I did have a run in my primer, so you kind of can see the remains or the evidence of that. This might be a little low spot here where these places are showing. So there's my rough pass. So now we're going to work. We want to sand this and work this till all this guide coat is gone, till it doesn't show anymore. And hopefully we can get that gone without cutting through into our either epoxy primer under here or the bare metal. Now, of course, I've already done some of that right here, and it does happen. It's going to happen, but the goal is to not do it, or to do it as little as possible. And then of course we got to sand this crease separately, and I'll probably break out, well I know I will, I'll break out my small block to sand all down in through here, and the hand sand, whatever it takes. Now I will let the nose of my block ease up down into here a little bit, but I'm going to be careful about how much I let it do. I don't want to be aggressive down in this corner. I'll dig a ditch. That is not what you want to do. Main thing we're concentrating on right now is up in these areas up here, back around the glass, all that stuff. Alright, this sanded out really well. I am very pleased with this. You watched my video about doing this filler work, you know I was kind of concerned about this corner right here. Man, it came out really good. I'm happy with it. It's really nice. I'm going to sand up in here on this drip rail. This little thin block that fits. Don't ignore areas like this. You need to sand every square little spot, millimeter, inch, whatever. You don't want to leave primer overspray or anything like that. Sand everything you can get to. I'll even take some hand sand and get up here under the drip rail, but I'll do that later. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, this up here feels, from the corner up, the crease up, feels excellent. I'm tickled pink with that. Alright, we're going to start working this crease area in here and up here now. You don't want to be real aggressive with this. Just take your time, read the guide code. Don't get in a hurry. At some point I'll probably sit down so I can kind of eye level this crease, and then we'll go from there. Alright, we're getting there. Good thing about this crease is this edge right here is unmolested. It's the stock edge, so I got a good fixed starting point. Same thing with back here. Over around about here, it is the original edge. So I just got to worry about the area that I built from here, between here. But it gives me, at least it gives me two good starting ends. I just got to build a section in the middle. If I had to build, you know, the entire crease from scratch, you know, end to end, like if it was a door or something, that makes it a little more difficult. Not that this is easy, because it's not. This is on a curve. That ramped the difficulty up quite a bit. As far as our block sanding and just the way it feels really good right in through here. I just got to work this crease because you know, we got to work that down. Right now, I'm still working down the guide coat, the orange peel and the primer, because I can see in the guide coat. All right, that's pretty much done. So I think across this face and over this corner, we're in really good shape. Now I got to work this crease. I'm going to start out sitting down where I can see it. That looks pretty good. I'm still messing with it some here. So what I'm doing now, when I see places that ripple up and down, I can block up into them, and that'll cut it back, and it'll raise the crease up. Kind of hard to explain. You keep sanding it sideways, it's not quite the same result. You do this, you sand up into it and sand it back, and it raises it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it works. From about here to here, I got a little high lump in it. You can't see that, but I'm not moving the camera. So I got to sand up here and bring that crease down. And honestly, it's kind of hard to teach you to do this on a video camera. you gotta be here and actually do it. You gotta do it for yourself and experience the pain and disappointment of getting them wrong, and the joy when you finally figure out how to do it right. That sounds a little bit over dramatic, but it's true. It really is. Okay, I think that's way better than I had it. Just like before, I need to get primer on it again. Now that I've got the height established where I think I like it, I will come across and lightly start blocking it a little bit. Doing my best not to move that crease around, up or down. And here, where the guide coat is really helpful, you can watch it. And you can tell where and how much you're cutting by what the guide coat is doing. Let me show you what I mean. See how I have the guide coat down? There's just a little bit of blackness on this edge right here. Well, there's a spot where I haven't sanded yet. I've just got it cut down till it's just. I've got it cut down now where I'm forming a good edge line across through here. I guess you see what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to come back and finish sanding right through here, and now I'll go ahead and crispen up the top of this crease. The bottom here I'm done with. I'm going to leave it alone. That feels really, really nice. I don't feel any bobbles. If it primes out good, then I'll be happy with it. Okay, I'm gonna call that crease good. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it feels and looks really good. Let me look at me. Let me eyeball it from here again. Yeah, I like that. Now we'll block the rest of the corner down here, and then we'll be done on this corner for pass number 1. Now here's something I want to show you about factory panels not being straight. This is not a dent. I never touched this panel over here. My filler work stops right along in here. There's not a dent here or a dent here. You see where the guide coat is staying in there and right down? Can you see that one? Right there? Those are low wavy spots in this panel from the factory that have been there 50 whatever years. Just like the panel up here that we fixed, that we straightened under the window, wavy from the factory. This is why you prime and block sand everything if you're worried about a good paint job. Now this is behind the bed. I realize that. Nobody's ever going to see this. I'm just showing you they're there, and that's how to see them. So if you want to fix it, fix it. If you don't, don't. And right here in the back of this bed panel, I'm going to block it the best I can. I'm not going to wipe the filler on that. And matter of fact, I'm going to keep blocking here, and the next 2 primer coats might even block it out. But just know that kind of stuff is there. And don't be surprised when you find it. And I don't want you to be confused about what you're looking at. Yes, it's a low spot. It's been there from day one. When you're blocking around curves with a block, you can see me. I'm working the block around the corner best I can, but you're still going to get facets in here. They're going to be tiny and they're going to be small, but they're going to be in there. So once I get through with the block, I'm going to come back and work it with hand sand. I'll show you that when we get there. Alright, now that I've got everything blocked, I'm going to come back and go over it with hand sand. I've talked about it in other videos. This is the best tool you have for sanding around curves. Don't take your fingertips and push into whatever you're working on. Don't do that. Take your paper. In this case, I have regular paper, 9 by 11, 9.5, whatever. I cut it in half. I fold it into thirds. This is how I hand sand. Or I take my old DA paper. Once I finish with it, it's sticky back. I stick it together. That makes good sandpaper too. But just lay your fingers on there. Let the paper flat do the work. Don't bear down. That's how you cut grooves and facets and stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm letting my hand and the paper just glide across that corner. Just cut those facets out and get it smooth as a curve. A curve that should be a curve, not a curve full of little flat faces. You know what I'm talking about. I think you do. You're smart. And I'm not bearing down. I'm not pressing at all. I'm just letting my hand and the paper go across there and do the work. And it will do a magnificent job. Now, don't take your paper and go over this body crease we worked so hard on. I'm not doing that. I'm just going up to it. If I want to, I can gently come across it like this to help the edge roll over. But I'm not really even doing that. I'm just going right up next to it. If I want to sand in the crease, take it and roll it into a little block like this. Then you can sand in little, I can come in here and block these areas like this. I want to. That's a little mini sanding block I just made. You don't have to buy all these special little shaped blocks that people try to sell. At least, in my opinion, you don't. But that's just me. I've been doing it for a long time, so I'm old school. I'll admit it. There, that feels really nice. I wish you was here to feel this. That sounded creaky, but if you like good smooth body work, you'd like this. Maybe that sounds a little strange. I can probably skip the next one. Normally I block, like I already mentioned it, I block 180 the first time over the filler. Gets the sand scratches out, gets the rough end straightening and that work done. Then I prime it and block it a second time with 180. That's just a double check, the CYA pass we'll call it, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Then I prime it again and hit it with 320. That's purely for sand scratches. And maybe a missed, why am I talking to nobody? And then maybe a missed thing or two here and there. That third pass with 320, that's normally it for me. It's straight and it's ready. And then I said, as I said before, once the entire job is done, I'll prime it one more time, block it the fourth time, and it's ready for paint. After you, of course, prime it and wet sand it. I didn't show sanding in this front edge here, but I did sand it with 180. I did use my small block here. I just blocked up and down it like this. I want to show you again, this edge is not filler. There's bare metal showing through here where I cut through again. This inner edge looks really good. Don't forget to sand in here. You want to make this look good, especially for me when I put body filler in here to cover up my weld lines, my weld joints, which were all the way down the seam. But that gap looks really good now. I'm really happy with that in there. Let me close the door for you. So the door rubber's out now, so the door will overslam. But there's the door gap in primer. That looks really good. I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm tickled. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and block my corner here with 320. I'm going to skip my second 180 blocking because this felt really good yesterday when I blocked it with 180. The one area I am concerned about is this body line crease right here. I'm going to leave it till the very last thing we sand. Because I got to be careful here. I noticed it when it was wet in primer. Still looked a little bit funky, we'll call it. So I want to pay special attention to this area right here. I might even sand it and prime it the third time just to look at it after I get it sanded, because I want to make damn sure that crease is right. Alright, this area down here feels really good. This lower corner right here, for some reason, still wants to kind of nag at me. It's not anything wrong with it, it's just, I don't know, it just feels a little, but it's in good shape. It's in really good shape. So, I gotta sand this crease right here, which you can't see, but then I'm gonna get up here and sand the top side. Now we'll block into this front corner here. This front corner here is the original steel I can block into, and that sets my edge, just like back here. See a nice crisp line here. See that nice crisp line right there? That's what you want. It's not 90-degree corner razor sharp, and it's not supposed to be, because this curve's got a round over. But that's what you want. And by the way, see the little area where the guide code is just starting to turn over? That's a little bit of wobble in my edge. You can see the edge here is straight. I got guide code straight all the way down this edge with that little bobbles under. That's just the tiniest of round over. I'm not going to worry with it, but it is a slight little, not a flaw. It's so minuscule, nobody's ever going to notice it. But it is an indicator of just a little bit of round over right there. So now what I'm going to do is go back here and find this rear corner, which is already here, and then sand down. I'm going to sand the top side, and then we're going to work this crease. Like I said, very last thing. Let's get this upper area first. Go ahead and knock it out. It should be done. It should be good to go. But we'll see. This area right here is still staying a little bit low on me. It's not much, it's very subtle, but I am going to block it pretty hard and then reprime it again. Pretty good right in there. That's about as far as I can cut it. So, I can stick my wave block down in, or I can stick my small block down in there and finish the rest of it. But I do want to prime it and block it again with that long block. The long block gives me the best area to block. The small block's going to get in here and probably sand that out, but the longer the block, the straighter your line is. You understand? But I don't want to leave this guide coat in here unsanded, so I'm just going to go over that right quick. And this area is so slight, I don't even know if it will show up as a wave in the paint. It might. Very subtle. But I know it's there, and it's certainly worth fixing if I can, which I can. And then take some hand sand, get up in there, knock the rest of it down. I'll say it again, don't prime over unsanded primer. That's a no-no. If you can at all avoid it, don't do it. It's not good. Alright, like the front edge. Now I gotta get the back edge. Come around this corner a little bit. Okay, here's the crease. See where the guide coat kind of run off at a funny line right there? That's that little spot I cut through. It kind of cuts down at an angle, and then it straightens back out. So the really only real area I feel like I need to work is right here. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to work the, I don't know how I'm going to do. Yeah, I may work the bottom first, or I don't know. Once I'm going to work one side or the other. Probably going to work the bottom first. It's the easiest. Because I got a flat spot here I can start working up into. I'm not doing it yet. But see, I'll just start cutting up into it like that, and I'll get the crease, you know, straight around this line where I want it. Now I might pull a piece of masking tape on this, I might not. Right now I'm not, because I'm shaping this and the masking tape is getting in my way. That's really zoomed in. Maybe you can see what I'm doing. These are just light, subtle, slow strokes. You can't get in here and caveman this kind of stuff. I'm using two hands again. Whoops. Not because I'm tired, because I can control the block and the shape and how it lays up here. I'm just watching the guide coat and I'm watching that crease. And I am trying to sneak up on it. You want to see that line straighten out, kind of like that. Now I'm doing this. I know I said don't, but I need to work that line in a straight manner. So that's what I'm doing, but I am being subtle and being careful. All right, I feel like it looks pretty good right through there. I'll work this area right here, and I'm going to work it down from the top because I feel like that's where the problem is at. And what we're working here is so subtle. I mean, it looked really good when I had it in primer, wet primer, but I can still see that I've got little flaws here. And I do want to fix them best I can. Still not looking over. I gotta stand up and sand into the face like this to get this. There we go. That's better. Yeah, work the line. Alright, let's do the same thing over here. My crease is pretty straight. Right over here, I just want to sand down to it. Just to make sure. Just nice, like I said, nice, flat, deliberate strokes here. Just working this upper face. Okay, that feels really good. Feels nice and smooth. Got a nice transition. Remember, it goes from what I call a ditch back here. You know, it's got to a ski ramp over here. You know, basically a flat spot. And it transitions in here, and you had to build that. Or I did, out of filler. Okay. Now, I'm going to work the bottom of the line down here very, very gently. And I am doing straight line, but in something like this, you really have no other choice. And I'm watching it in the guide coat, see how it shapes up. Seems like I got a little knot right here I don't like, but it's very subtle. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And we're to the point now where a few sand strokes on this filler edge, which I haven't cut through into the filler, by the way, but a few sand strokes here can just make a difference. It moves, you can move stuff. It's the tiniest amounts, but it makes a difference. Alright, to my eye that looks straight. I got the tiniest amount of guide coat on that corner, and that's what I was looking for. Now, I got to round this thing over. That's one thing I did not do well before. I had too sharp of an edge in my filler work. So I'm just going to work around the edge very slowly and make a round over. Again, this is 100% sculpting work here. I can't tell you how to do it. You're just going to have to get in here one day and do it. It don't take much. I'm only cutting primer, but cutting that primer is enough to make that round over. If you cut into the filler doing this, you may have gone too far, or maybe you haven't. That depends on your situation, what you're doing, what you're fixing. And I'm being very subtle, very slow. That's my nature. Take my time. And 320 cut slow. That's good for this kind of stuff. You don't want to get in here and just go crazy with some 80 grit or 180 or whatever. Take your time. Oh, that feels good. Paying attention again to my original crease here up front. I want to make sure these blend together. Rub a little bit of hand sand over it, just to kind of rub this corner. Very subtle, very light. I do a Bob Ross, two hairs and some air. That's pretty much all I can do to that. I'm on 320 around this corner. I'm going to call it good. Alright, that feels really good around there. I like that. It feels about as good as I know I can do it. Alright, we're going to call this good. Now, let me tell you a quick little story. In the good old bad days of Lacquer Primer, which by the way I like Lacquer Primer. It was easy to use. But anyway, we won't talk about that. In the good old bad Lacquer Primer days, I would recommend you 100%, 1000%. When you get this body line crease fixed the way you want it, go grab your Lacquer Primer gun and come in and shoot some primer on it and look at it. It was easy back then because we kept Lacquer Primer in that primer gun 24/7. It was always full of Lacquer Primer in the shop. Even at home, when I was working at home, I had a Lacquer Primer gun. If I was working on a project, it stayed full of Lacquer Primer 24/7. Obviously with 2K you can't do that. You mix this stuff. I even tried the refrigerator trick where you mix your 2K or your whatever urethanes up and put them in the refrigerator to get an extra few hours. But it's 2K, that don't work. I tried it, it's set up anyway. So with 2K primers you can't do that. You got to mix up a tiny little amount or whatever, which to this day I don't know how these body shop guys do that. It would irritate the crap out of me the way the 2K primers work. But we won't talk about that. So as I was saying, I 100% recommend get your primer gun, And either whenever you're priming something else, prime this area right here and look at it. You can't really tell what it looks like until it's in shiny primer and of course 1-day paint. It looks really good to me now, but I gotta prime it to look at it. So anyway, that's the next step. Whenever I'm priming something over there, I'll take an extra few shots and snorts and prime this corner. The corner itself is done. I'm very happy with this corner. It's 320 out, it's straight, everything feels really good. There's one slight little low spot right here. I will prime pretty heavy and reblock that. I'm going to prime this corner and look at it and see how it looks, and I may actually block it one more time. We'll just see how it looks in primer. But the corner itself is done. That's a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and block this area right here. I reprimed this area as well. It was a little bit low, had a little bit of a wave from the factory. This is one of those subtle areas that nobody's really going to know about except me and you. See the little area right here where the primer, where the guide coat wants to stay in here? That's just a little ripple in this panel. To fix this perfectly, I need to skim coat it right here, and I'm not going to do that. It's so subtle. I don't think I'll ever notice it when I get it painted. But it is there. That's what guide coat will show you, or your eyes when you're blocking primer. It's just a subtle little wave. It's been there since day one. You can, if you want to make a perfect paint job, you need to put a little skim coat in here and block it down and get it absolutely straight. Alright, I got it down as far as I can get it. See the little bit, there's still a little bit of guide coat showing right there. That's where that little wave is still wavy. I got 80-90% of it out. That's so slight, like I said, I'm not going to worry with it. To finish it, I'll take my little small block here and block down up in there. It'll get down up in here next to this drip rail. I could sand it by hand, but I do want to use a block as much as I can. It'll help a little bit. So I'm just going to block, just block up in there as far as I can. It doesn't go under the drip rail, unfortunately. It just butts up right next to it. Alright, I've gotten all I can get. So now I'll just take the hand sand. Get up under here under the drip rail. Because you want to make sure, like I said before, you want to make sure and sand all these nooks and crannies. Because that overspray builds up. And if you don't, it just keeps building up and building up. And you're going to wind up with a mess of crud and overspray down in there when you go to paint. You don't want that. Alright, that's good. I'm going to get that. Alright, we're done. I'm going to go off camera and sand the edges. I know I say always sand your edges around like the overspray, just like here. I got sand under here on the rear panel. I'm going to sand this crease here by hand very carefully. I'm not going to show doing that because some of y'all might see that and just freak out. I shot a coat of primer over this corner just to see it wet, and it looks really good. So I'm not blocking. All I'm doing is scuffing the guide coat back down and getting the primer off and the overspray and all that stuff. So hand sand is fine, but I'm not going to show doing that. There's no reason to. So I'm going to finish sanding the areas I need to sand. We'll come back and shoot the last coat of primer, and that'll be it. We'll be done. Alright, so that's the end of the video. So if you want to see how we got here, go back and watch part 1, watch part 2. I hope you was able to watch me do this and kind of get the idea how to do it on your own. I can tell you how to do it all day long, but you got to go out and actually do it yourself to be able to learn to do it. So one thing I didn't show was doing the metal work on this front edge here where I cut the cab and had to widen the door gap. I'm working on a video for that now. It's going to be a much quicker kind of a highlight package video. I just want to show what I did, how I did it, and let you see if it would work for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something like I've been saying. Be sure to do all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, share it around with buddies, ex-wives, girlfriends, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Y'all come back now, you hear? Happy body work, body filler, door gaps. You know, bye.